There's a great episode of Firefly that starts with this scene.
Did you ever read the works of Shan Yu?
Shan Yu, the psychotic dictator?
Yep. Fancied himself quite the warrior poet. Wrote volumes on war, torture, the limits of human endurance.
That's nice.
He said, live with a man 40 years. Share his house, his meals, speak on every subject. Then tie him up and hold him over the volcano's edge. And on that day, you will finally meet the man.
This scene is very clever because, on the one hand, it serves to set up the episode's villain, Niska, who will be quoting this same very psychopath when he tortures people later. On the other hand, what this is really doing is teaching the audience how conflict works in a story. Joss Whedon is no stranger to having his characters talk about genre conventions or screenwriting tropes. Being self-aware is kind of his shtick. But this episode in particular outlines the purpose of external conflict. Giving characters obstacles that they have to overcome helps the audience get a deeper understanding of them. Later in the episode, one of the main characters, Zoe, will find that the villain Niska has taken captive two men, Wash, her husband, and Mal, her best friend and captain. He's very winkingly aware of the fact that this obstacle is going to reveal something about Zoe. Let's see what she does.
I think this is not enough. Not enough for two. But sufficient perhaps for one. You now have...
Tim. I'm sorry. You were going to ask me to choose, right? Do you want to finish?
This moment says more about Zoe's inner life than any heartfelt conversation possibly could. This is what obstacles can do for your story. This is why external conflict is so important. And this is why Fantastic Four: First Steps failed. Hi, my name is Tim, I write for television, and I honestly don't want to keep talking about Marvel movies, but they keep finding interesting ways to make mistakes. I already made a video about internal conflict or character arcs, and you should watch that if you haven't already. But today I'm going to be focusing just on external conflict or obstacles. These are things that the universe throws at your characters and your characters must overcome them. The Mission Impossible series is essentially a primer for writing obstacles. You establish stakes so the audience knows why overcoming this obstacle is so important. You keep throwing more and more complications at Ethan as he tries to overcome them. Notice how these movies stack obstacles. Ethan can't just be free climbing the Burj Dubai, he's got to do it with one working glove. Oh, and he loses his glass cutter at the worst time. This is very classic, very simple, but very effective escalation. And the result of this escalating conflict is to show how high the stakes are. Because why would a guy be willing to do all this if it weren't to save the world? Now, not all external conflict is so high stakes and action-packed. Staying with Tom Cruise for a moment, A Few Good Men is a movie about nothing but talking. The stakes are relatively low, just a single trial, but the external conflict is very clear and very well constructed. A JAG team is facing off against an adversary. Every time the heroes think they have figured it out and have overcome the challenge, their adversary thwarts them. Eventually, the hot young JAG lawyer realizes that to overcome the obstacle, he needs to play into the hubris of his opponent.
Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom.
In this case, overcoming the external conflict tells you more about the villain than it does the hero, which is still very satisfying. The Prestige is one of my favorite films, and it is a terrific example of how to escalate a conflict. The movie follows two magicians, Angier and Borden, who start as friends but become bitter rivals. The movie glides back and forth following the lives of these two men. While the film follows Borden, Angier is the external obstacle. While the film follows Angier, Borden is the obstacle. Every time one of them hurts the other, they escalate their conflict, starting with stolen tricks and culminating in murder. And the thrill, for us the audience, is seeing how each man justifies becoming a villain to the other. I want to look at all of these cases and highlight the structure. The movie throws an obstacle at the character that the character has to overcome. Then it escalates, either changing the nature of the obstacle or just upping the difficulty. Then it throws a new obstacle at them, building on the earlier one. This creates a nice storytelling rhythm, where the hero is getting little victories along the way, but the conflict is always building and compounding until a final decisive moment. Alright, enough beating around the bush, let's talk about Fantastic Four. This movie has a lot of problems, but I'm a writer, so I'm just gonna focus on the script. The movie has a really interesting external conflict, established in the first act. Galactus is here, and he's gonna blow up Earth unless Reed Richards and Sue Storms give Galactus their baby. This is the setup. When they refuse to make a deal, the Silver Surfer chases them to steal the baby. They go on a big space chase with added complications of Sue going into labor, and then they manage to get away. So far, we are doing everything right. Obstacles, escalation, overcoming, good. But then something strange happens. The Fantastic Four get home and they tell the people of Earth what they were offered. One baby in exchange for all of Earth. This causes some pretty understandable consternation from the people of Earth. They think that maybe this is a good deal. So I'm thinking, great, we get a new conflict between the Fantastic Four and the people of Earth, who we've established early on really love them. I'm looking forward to all the ways this conflict is going to develop and heighten throughout the film. I'm looking forward to the breakdown of this relationship as each side escalates. I'm looking forward to seeing the military come and try to steal the baby, and then the Fantastic Four have to fight their way out, and then maybe they have to go on the run, and they have to solve this Galactus problem while still underground and trying to fight the humans that they have sworn to protect. It seems like a really cool movie. I can't wait to watch it. Except the movie just goes, nah. Sue makes a little speech and everyone's cool now. No one's mad at them, and we're gonna instead work together as a planet in complete solidarity to fight Galactus. So here's where the movie starts to tumble. It establishes the obstacle, baby in exchange for world safety, and then it diffuses it. No escalation, no complications. It's a narrative dead end. After the speech, everyone goes right back to loving the Fantastic Four. Which made me wonder, why even tell the people of Earth that this deal was on the table? Why cook up this delicious conflict if you're not going to eat it? Reed and the gang eventually find a strategy to deal with Galactus. They evacuate New York and then have a little fight in the streets. There's a complication with their plan. They have to adapt and then overcome, and then Galactus is vanquished. Done. A perfectly fine third act. What this creates is a really strange viewing experience where there's building conflict as the first act goes, but then it just plummets, and then there's just flat nothing. Just a whole hour of waiting for the next conflict to start. And then it happens and we get a big final fight and then credits. And that's just not how a movie is supposed to go. It's supposed to be a gradual escalation of conflict throughout the film all the way till the end. Also, I need to go on a little tangent here. The end of this movie is totally insane to me. So Sue's dead, and oh boy, I hope I put the spoiler warning up. Yeah, so Sue's dead, and the rest of the remaining Fantastic Three, they all gather around her body to have a little weep. And Ben, the Thing, he's holding Sue's baby in his hands. Then, for no explicable reason, Ben's like, hey, I'm gonna put this baby on this corpse and let him crawl around. And Reed helps. He's like, hell yeah, brother. Put my kid on my recently deceased wife. Let him really explore the space. This is bonkers to me. I can't imagine in a million years ever doing this. I understand why the writers wrote it this way. It's because they needed the kid to do some magic. But it feels so contrived, so unnatural. And I kept thinking, they didn't have to do this. They could have had Ben not be a weirdo and put the baby in the case and then go stand over Sue and have a weep. And then they could have had like a little close-up of the baby's feet as the baby gets out of the case and then takes his, get this, first steps and then walks over to his mom, does magic, she wakes up. I mean, goddamn, it's right in the title. What are we doing here? What was I talking about? Oh right, I was talking about how you should subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be making a video every week for the rest of the year, and I think you're going to like them. Anyway, back to Fantastic Four. So why is it like this? Why is this movie such a mess? I'll tell you. It's because a guy, I don't know who, had this idea. He said, "What if a world-destroying God came to Earth and demanded that the world's most popular family give over their only child in exchange for not destroying the planet? And wouldn't it be cool to show the people of Earth turn on their favorite celebrities and demand that they sacrifice their baby? Maybe even force them to sacrifice their baby. And wouldn't it be cool to show this good and decent family turn and become bitter and resentful towards the people of Earth, and wonder if the people of Earth are even worth saving if they'd be willing to sacrifice a baby?" And then someone else said, "Dude, that's way too dark. We're not making that movie." And instead of throwing the whole idea out, they kept just enough of it to ruin the movie. Because nothing is more likely to ruin a good idea than half measures. You can't build a prison for your heroes and then have them walk out the front door because no one remembered to lock up. That's bad writing. I think Fantastic Four has a lot going for it. It's got a great cast, the score is wonderful, it's a genuinely fresh take on how to make a superhero movie, which is why I'm even more disappointed by the movie's many missteps. And also, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I just have to. The CGI looks really bad. I'm a script guy, I talk about storytelling, I'm not a VFX artist, but like, seriously guys, this is getting out of hand. I mean, these movies cost $250 million and we are sinking further into the uncanny valley. So leave a comment. Let me know if you liked the new Fantastic Four movie, or if you didn't, or if you feel a way about this creepy baby. Either way, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.